Hello everybody, my name is Jarek Buchholz. Today we have our special guest, very knowledgeable, the most knowledgeable I ever person know, Canadian real estate investor, Mr. Navtaj Chandhoke from Toronto. Hello, Mr. Navtaj.
Hello, Jarek, and hello everybody else. How are you, everybody?
Okay. Today, Mr. Navtaj, he will reveal some secrets which nobody knows about how to invest in real estate. So, Mr. Navtaj, let's transfer to your monitor and let's start rock and rolling, right? Just give me a second.
Sure.
And switch to Mr. Navtaj. Here we go. Can anybody confirm that they can see Mr. Navtaj's screen, please?
Does anybody want to confirm? Please do that.
Yes, I can see it. Please raise your hand and just confirm it. Thank you very much, Kenzie. Yep, please go ahead, Mr. Navtaj. So,
all right. Tonight is a very special night. I'd like to share with my fellow Canadian investors that when you're looking to buy a piece of property, so-called panic sellers, you don't have to go that route. Majority of the trading companies ask you to look for the motivated sellers. I like to be a little different because there are about 30 other different resources which an average person have no clue. That's number one. Number two, you can have exclusive right where you'll be able to buy Canadian real estate at 10 cents a dollar, 20 cents a dollar, 30 cents a dollar, 40 cents a dollar, 50 cents a dollar without any competition. Not only that, it has nothing to do with MLS. It has nothing to do with the realtor. So moving forward, if I can move my screen, which I'm going to have a little difficulty, I'll see if I could. Okay, this is the disclaimer, by the way, which comes from our attorneys. Information, strategies, and opinions contained in this presentation are provided for general information and convenience only. Since the particular fee situation may differ, information may change rapidly, one must seek appropriate qualified professional advice before acting based upon any information provided by Canada REIG, Jarek, Pollock, Navtaj Chandhoke, or Worldwide Builder, or any affiliate association. This is a disclaimer which need to be disclosed and spoken by law based upon attorneys. So who am I? I've been investing in Canada for 30 plus years, teaching all across Canada for 20 years. Have the privilege to be invited many times over at the University of Toronto. I've shared some stages with one of the key people, written many different articles. I've shared my expertise with over millions of half a million Canadians. And my specialty is, again, buying Canadian real estate at a humongous discount and utilizing a lot of free money from governments of Canada. Moving forward, what is it exactly? This is amazing. When I travel all across Canada, people say, I can't find a good deal. Excuse me, hello, where are you looking? They're watching way too much TV. They can't figure it out. So there's no investment. Oh, come on. Now tonight, I'm going to prove it to you. And I'm going to ask everybody where you are from. And I'm going to provide you possibly some inside information where you're going to find, oh my God, I got 500 leads to deal with it. All these deals or all this thing which is available tonight for you, courtesy of Canada REIG. You are blessed. You're going to find this could be a game changer tonight. So our job is supposed to be fun, but again, it requires work, training, coaching, persistence, and there's no such thing that the good deal is going to end up in your lap. You have to really work at it. This requires strategies. It needs a plan of action and persistence, and that's the name of the game. One thing I like to pinpoint to you, Yerrick, a dedicated Canadian who have dedicated many years of his life towards investors. And that's what it takes, a dedication. He's a living example of it. Those who are not a member of VIP member, please become one. It's much, much cheaper than anything else. Okay, moving forward. What is a pre-foreclosure? Does anybody have an idea what pre-foreclosure is? Pre-foreclosure is something a lot of us do not realize it. It's an average homeowner would default a couple of mortgage payments. When they do default, okay, then what we are in trouble. What kind of trouble are we in? The trouble begins from the banks. What does the banks want? Banks want their money back. And what do they have to do when you default? So, question for all of you is this, is how many of you think, how many Canadians are already in trouble as we speak? How many Canadians become homeless every month? Well, those who do not have a piece of paper and pen, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to grab one, because I'm going to give you some very helpful information to figure it out if you want to work on a pre-foreclosure market in Canada, then where you should be focusing on, where the information is valid, and where you can get a information where you're able to bank on it. Now, based upon Canadian Bankers Association, and their website is cba.org. Once again, CBA, Canadian Bankers Association. You can just Google that. Once you Google to their website, please go to the column called delinquent mortgage payments. And then you're going to find approximately 20,000 Canadians who are behind more than 90 days. 90 days behind their mortgage payments. Well, some of you are in Western Canada, some of you are in Atlantic provinces, some of you are in Eastern Canada. The laws are different in each and every province. Let me talk about 2/3 of Canada, which is Ontario. It does not happen that far. In Ontario, the moment you default, after 16th day of your default, the lenders take a very severe action, and within 53 days, especially in the province of Ontario, the bank or the lender have the right to sell the property. So, when we go to Canadian Bankers Association website and see the number of Canadians, Canadian homeowners who are in default, we need to know where it is happening. What year, what time is it now? How many are there happening, and what can we do? So, pre-foreclosures are much, much better deals than foreclosure. Foreclosure deals, or in Ontario they call power sale deals, have to be sold at market value. If you want to make some money, it always at pre-foreclosure. Number 2, haunted houses. I don't know how many of you celebrate Halloween, but it's lots of fun if you celebrate it. If you don't, it's still lots of fun. What happens during the Halloween time? Does anybody have an idea? Halloween, why do we celebrate it to begin with? Is there a reasoning behind it? Yes. As a matter of fact, in every city, there are properties in almost every city which is unfortunately owned by the city or by the crown or by the province or by the federal, which are haunted properties, and these properties usually get sold, please listen to this carefully, for 5 cents a dollar, 95% discount. Just those of you who are a bit skeptical, I'm going to have fun with you guys. And those who are not skeptical, I want you to become skeptical so we have some fun together. Those who are making notes, please go to your good friend Google and Google the fact that how many haunted properties get sold in the city of Toronto. City of Toronto a couple of years ago sold what property worth $9 million in a prime location. $9 million worth of real estate. They sold it for $400,000. If you wanted the exact figures were the property worth $8.95 million, and it got sold for $395,000. Investors, pay attention to it. Every city have them, and it's for us to grab them. The next one is I like to talk about is called stigmatized properties. Does anybody have an idea what stigmatized is? Now, those who have a question, you're welcome to ask or write it or raise hand. Yerk is on the line as well as the rest of our staff. They'll be happy to answer as we go along, unless otherwise you want to save all your questions for at the end of the presentation. What is the stigmatized properties? These are the properties which have some sort of stigma attached. Now I'm just going to give you a bit of an example that there is a piece of property in Toronto. It was listed on MLS. Property is worth $500,000, $500,000. It gets sold only for $100,000, 80% discount. There was nothing wrong with the property. Now, some of you are going to get excited. Wow, this is great. 80% discount. That's humongous. Before you get overexcited, you need to know why somebody is going to sell you a piece of property 80% below market value. Are you ready for the story? Here it is. Many years, the story of the house was there was a gentleman living in the house. The gentleman was living with a dog, and he was pretty old. God knows who died first. The gentleman passed away while he was sleeping, and the dog died in the kitchen. They did not find their bodies for a period of 6 months. Now that's a big stigma attached, that somebody died in the house and there was bodies which was not covered for 6 months. By the way, this is very common in Canada. So that's called, part of it is called stigma attached. Stigma can be attached with form of a death, murder, crime, could be grow-up house, meth lab, or any of those things which we call, anything which we find is abnormal. Being an investor, if you look at the piece of property, even if you have to demolish the property, the land has value, and people have short memories. But again, this is something else you may gonna find. You can even find it also in our MLS. The next one I'm going to talk about is grow-up houses. Grow-up houses are great way of making money. Before, I assume they legalize the weed in Canada, based upon information from time after time from different sources. It's estimated there are over 17,000 properties which are grow-up houses, and the figure goes back and forth, back and forth. And now, most of the stigmatized property, most of the grow-up houses are bad because of the fact is, hey, they're grow up. Now, when do we buy them? one of the worst thing, you have to be very careful with this thing. Majority of the A lenders in Canada will not finance this deal. So the choices is you can find them, you can heal them, fix them up nicely, but you're going to need temporary financing. So for this type of financing, you come to Canada PREIG or World Wealth Builder, and we can arrange a hard money lender for you. You're able to buy these properties and make a humongous amount of profit. Again, when you're buying a grow-up house, the biggest challenge you're going to have is getting financing, and financing has to be private. Please don't waste your time trying to figure it through a broker or even a banker. It's the hard money lenders, your fellow Canadian hard money lenders. The best source, number one, Eric from Canada PREIG. Call him directly. Or second, call me, and we'll be happy to look into the deal. And if the deal is feasible enough, we could even become your joint venture partners. Now, next one I want to talk about is abandoned properties. Now, some of you may gonna say, oh, we don't have abandoned properties in Canada. Yes, we do. It's amazing number of properties which are abandoned for years and years. As a matter of fact, we are in a small town, and we have noticed the properties have been abandoned for 20 years. There's nothing wrong with our property. It looks great from outside. The neighbors have taken time, or the city have taken the time, and these properties have ended up that either the owner has gone overseas or have passed away, and the next of kin is trying to figure it out, or whatever the reasons are, or something has happened, or it is owned by the city, or they're invested properties, or these are the properties seized excuse me, by the local police or CMP or whatever, and now they're up for sale. All you need to do is a bit of digging, and when you dig it, you're digging not for the gold, you're digging for the diamonds. You'll be shocked actually that the abandoned properties can be a great source in Canada. Next one, which I'd like to talk about, is called surplus properties. Those of you who are not familiar with it, please do me one simple favor. Just Google the word surplus. Surplus properties in Calgary, surplus property in Halifax, or from Halifax or Vancouver or Toronto. Just Google it. Now, surplus properties comes in every format. And these surplus properties have their own way of getting rid of it. You'll be shocked actually. What can you buy directly from the city, or you can buy it from the province, or you can even buy directly from the different source. So I won't get too much into it right now because of the time factor. This is my favorite, Crown Corporation. How many of you know that Canada Post is slowly but surely don't want to deliver the mail directly to your home anymore? Why? It's not feasible anymore. So what are they doing? So they're selling off all their assets slowly but surely. Now there are all kind of crown corporations. Some of you might have noticed that even Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation is crown corporation. And there are all kind of crown corporations which have assets. These assets are not sold most of the time on MLS. They're sold directly in the form of an auction or a tender. As long as you become aware that Crown sell the properties, you are in for a shock. Whether you're buying a commercial piece of property or whether it's a residential property, it's irrelevant. The federal government, Fed, have tons of properties and they keep getting rid of it. They're all kind of properties, by the way. Some of you, just a little bit off the topic I'd like to discuss, which is not part of it, but I'm going to throw at you. Some of you might be sending your kids to Catholic schools. Now, Catholic schools all across Canada are shrinking. When they're shrinking, they're selling all their assets. and some of these assets have been sold for a humongous discount. But let's talk about the federal. Federal government does not put all the properties in the market for sale. Their mandate is different, and you're able to pick them up next to nothing. I will just share a story with you in a second. It was under a Crown Corporation, and there's a piece of property in Toronto, right in the heart of Toronto. That building was owned by RCMP. The building was appraised for $1,200 per square feet. And an investor, a fellow Canadian investor, picked up the building, and he only paid $9 per square foot. Buildings, AAC appraisal says worth $1,200 per square feet. Huge building, right in the downtown, and it was picked up by a fellow Canadian investor for $9. So he did not even pay a cent. He paid 0.01 cent. Next thing we're going to talk about the CRA. CRA is Canada Revenue Agency, your taxman. Your taxmen sell all kind of real estate, by the way. Some of you may or may not realize that taxman has so much authority and power upon us is not funny. They're always right, and there's only one way, it's their way. Now let's say you own a piece of property, you're a business for yourself, you decided not to pay HST or GST or personal taxes. Here is the law. If you do not file your tax return in time and you owe money to Revenue Canada, right away there is a 5% penalty. That's number one. Number two, whatever the money you owe, they're going to charge you compound interest. Once again, compound interest 1% per month, which is 12%. If you compound it, it becomes a bit more. Now CRA has a mandate. They don't give a damn what's the property worth. Let's say you have a property worth $1 million and you owe them $100,000. CRA is going to put your piece of property worth $1 million, and their mandate is only one thing, to collect $100,000. You'll be able to pick up some properties which have a CRA lien, and the lien is a lot less than what you're aware of it. Now, same thing happened with the provincial government. Provincial government have tons of properties. It's all across Canada, even in the territories. And province also sell these properties. And provinces is the one which also responsible for health, depending upon which province you are in. And they have surplus properties and the other properties, and they do sell. Now, one of the next one which I really like as well, which you may not like it as well a lot, I call it dead man's property. Dead man's property is very interesting property.
Attendees ask if we can show entire screen, so I switch to me. I will be changing the screen, okay?
Okay, that's fine. Let me know. I will come back.
Okay, G.
I'm back in business?
Yes, of course in the business. I will be just changing the screen.
Okay, good, thank you. So, let's talk about estate sale. Now, what's the law in Canada? When somebody passes away, for the taxman, they hit the jackpot. What does that mean? The moment you die, the taxman thinks that you have sold all your assets, and whatever the money you have made, except your principal residence, there is capital tax need to be paid. And a lot of times you will see it on MLS. These properties are advertised as estate sale of Jim Johnson. It means Jim Johnson have passed away, and the next of kin is now looking to get rid of the properties to pay off the taxes or whatever, and plus get whatever they have, or the next of kin is doing it. Here is the key. Whenever you see a piece of property under estate sale, you ask for a full disclosure. Full disclosure means we want to know where Jim Johnson passed away. If Jim Johnson was murdered, was he killed? Did he have AIDS? Did he have cancer? Did he pass away peacefully at home? Did he pass away in the hospital? Who else was there when we discovered the body? That is going to change the whole scenario, how much price you're willing to pay. If the property has some sort of a stigma attached to it, bingo, you hit yourself a jackpot. Now, whenever you're buying a estate sale, be aware of the fact on a 20 offer you make, one will go through, and if even one goes through, you made yourself $250,000 to $1 million, depending upon the size and location. I'm going to request all of you, if you don't mind, let me know where you are calling from, and so that I might be able to customize my presentation. So those who can raise the hand, please raise your hand, or just you can type a message, then I would know exactly where you calling from. And if you have any particular question, we can answer that for you, or maybe if you like, we can do that a little later on as well. So yeah, can I get my next slide, please? Thank you.
Sudbury, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and many more, all over Canada.
All right. So if anybody has any particular question, we're going to go through this. Next thing, we're going to talk about the liens. What is a lien? Okay, where do we find them? Now, there are two types of liens, by the way, in Canada. Some liens are registered against the property, and some liens are registered against your name. Let's talk about your name first. When you let's say owe money to Yarrick, and you decided not to pay to Yarrick, and let's say you owe Yarrick $10,000. So Yarrick can go to small claims court and get a judgment against you and register a lien. And that lien may not be registered against your property, but it might be registered against your name. And depending upon which province you're in, that lien could be good for 6.5 years, 7 years, but give or take 7 years is a benchmark. Now, whenever you want to buy or sell anything else, the attorney is going to do the search, and that lien will pop out. So those liens, millions of Canadians have them, and they don't realize them. They're registered against them, and those liens can be again renewed for every 6.5 years continuously, though. Now, each province, the law is slightly different, but more or less this is a generic information which more or less is applicable except Quebec. Now, lien can be personal information, personal thing you did not pay, and also lien can be against your property, and those liens are negotiable, by the way. Recently, we had a situation where a gentleman had a lien from Bank of Montreal for $72,000, and we were able to negotiate it for, I think, less than $15,000 or $14,000. So that they decided to take $14,000 for $70,000, and the deal became extremely profitable for us. Owner was relieved, and everybody walked away from the deal as a winner. Bank was happy, at least they got 20 cents a dollar. Owner got out of it because he didn't want any further judgments, and he just wanted to get rid of the property, and his nightmare was over. And liens can be very profitable. Whenever you see a lien, look at bingo, you hit no jackpot. And something which you need to learn further, and we will be doing that as we go along. Yara, can I get the next one, please? Judgments. Now, some of you may gonna say, okay, what's the difference between a judgment and a lien? Judgments are given by the court office. So is the lien. Lien can be something because they owe you, and lien does not necessarily have to be through a judgment. Judgment is done by a court. It's a court order. Now, judgment can be in different formats, and judgments can be also negotiable to some degree. But you have to be very careful that liens are much easier to do than judgment. Judgment is a court order. And unfortunately, court orders, when they come in, then the judge also puts something on top of it, which is called interest. So the judgment could be $50,000, $60,000, and then there could be interest of 6% or 8%, and it can keep growing at the same time. Now, judgments can be registered against the title. It can be given against the individual, but be aware of the fact that judgments may not be, as I said, may or may not be negotiable compared to liens, though. So let's move forward, sir. Flood damage. Oh boy, did we have floods in Canada this time? Well, let's talk about Calgary. Let's talk about the High River. Let's talk about even Toronto. Let's talk about even Winnipeg. Now, all across Canada, we have some sort of a water damage or flood damage. Those who are from Vancouver, you might have heard about this terminology called leaky condo. Leaky condo, the syndrome still exists, by the way. This is started in 1981. Now, what happened to flood damaged properties? On the High River, the insurance companies or the federal government have not been able to settle it down. Some properties are not habitable any further because the damage is so extreme. It's better to demolish. Some of these houses can be healed. Now, whenever you're looking at the flood damage, be aware of the fact that you have a good property inspector and health and the fire, and see if you are going to do. Now, the question is, are the flood damaged properties dirt cheap? Answer is absolutely. Who's getting rid of it? It all depends. Is it an insurance company, or is it a bank, or is it a third party? Now, even as some private investors. Now, once you become aware of it, this flood damage is very common, by the way, across Canada, especially in Winnipeg. You might have heard about it that over 3,000 families are getting not water. They have to go get water. All the pipes are frozen, and when the pipes become unfrozen, they get busted. And that's also some sort of a damage. It's a water damage, but it's not really flood damage. The opportunities are endless in the flood. You have to look for it. It's a specialized field. Even if you're buying this property, keep in mind that you're not paying the price for the structure. You're not paying the price for the land. It's like a huge bargain. You're only paying like 10 or 15 cents a dollar. And it's amazing that some of you who are in Western Canada, if you're in Manitoba, if you're in Ontario, if you're in the Atlantic provinces, you will find these type of properties. So next, fire damage. That's very, very, very common. Burning the candles, propane, the old wiring, the electric heaters, many reasons, whether it's summer or winter, we have fire damaged houses. Now, fire damage can be very profitable because this gentleman in Toronto, I happen to know him, and he has made a fortune buying only fire damaged properties from the owners and insurance companies. Again, fire damaged properties are sometimes not worth fixing it. They're worth demolishing or rebuilding it, and this is where the builders comes in. But again, opportunities are endless because there is a stigma attached to it. It happened to me when one of my property got burned down, not all the way, but the damage was severe, up to $30,000, $40,000, and I had a thought about getting rid of it. Then I decided to just do it or not do it. I was the motivated vendor or seller, and you may gonna find it's a specialized field. You're not paying more than 30 to 50 cents a dollar, and depending upon how much damage you have, it's amazing. And these properties No, not come on MLS. The next one is, sorry, Eric? Can I get the next one, please, Eric?
Yeah, there is.
The fire damage, next one.
Sorry.
I can't see it in my screen.
Strata or condo fee.
Okay, I can't see it in my screen though. Okay, strata and condo. Now in the Western Canada, the condos are known as strata. If you do not pay the condo fees, the condo or strata corporation has the right to sell the property ahead of the first mortgage. Now you'll be surprised at how many properties do come in the market for sale. Now if you have a good relationship with condo or strata, as a matter of fact, some of these properties may gonna come down because people are refused to pay, or for some odd reason they're unable to pay. These properties will be sold. Let's say in the province of Ontario, instead of we don't have foreclosure, we have a power sale. It'll be sold under power sale. Or other provinces, it'll be sold under foreclosure. And sometimes these properties are free and clear. Now, if you come across these properties, again, depending upon your expertise and knowledge, first of all, if you see any condo, if you see any strata, let's say this strata have 2,000 or 1,000 condos, the chances are there's always a 3 to 5% default rate, 3 to 5%. And it's pretty huge. That's normal. That's business. And those properties can be grabbed. These are the red flags, and some stratas or condo corporations are happy to disclose it to you. Sometimes they post it. Sometimes they will tell you otherwise, and those can be, again, grabbed for a good profit though. So let's move to the next one, sir.
Mechanic liens.
Mechanic liens. This is the lien when you get the work done from your house. As the guy comes in, fix your furnace, fix your roofing, and then you decide not to pay, then he has 45 days to put a lien against you. And sometimes what happens, it happens with the builders quite often, that builders will not pay the subcontractors, and subcontractors have a lien. Is it within the law that if they do not get paid, and they can register it against on the title. And it is quite common that you will find the new construction or people who are doing more renovations, upgradings, or additions and so on have some sort of dispute because they're not happy with the contractor or the timing he said he will do, and they're not refusing to pay them, and then this contractor decided to put lien against you. Now those liens are disputable, and now the contractor walks out. At this time, you can become a mediator or negotiator, and between both parties, you can either negotiate the lien, or you can become a in-between. And if they want to get rid of the property, or if they want you to negotiate it for it, that could be part of your down payment to acquire the property. Or sometimes people just want to get rid of it because they do not want to go through the hassle of the court. One of the worst nightmare Canadians have, do not want to go for a lawsuit. Nobody ever wins a lawsuit. Everybody loses. The only people who make money are the lawyers, and they are forever. Most of the lawsuits do not ever settle the court. Most of the time, they settle out of the court, and both parties realize it. Forget our ego. There's no such thing as a winner. We're both going to be losing it. Okay, moving forward, sir.
Would you like me to read it?
This is another classic one, the lawsuits. Partnership splits up. Now, people start the business, they get too excited, not realizing who are they going to share the bed with. But I'm not bad with, I'm talking about ownership of the property, of investment properties. And then they start blaming each other. Oh, you are supposed to do this. As long as you both are making money, most of the time we are comfortable. What happened when the problem arises? Being in the business for plus 30 plus years, I've seen it, that how two brothers, family members have turned around, and then the problem begins. The question is, sometimes we are able to go in, able to help them out, and as a matter of fact, this is no different than even a divorce. To me, if family or partners split up was no different than a divorce, and both partners don't want to see it, they don't care about making money, they just want sometimes out and about, and this is what is it all about. Now, you can go in. Every time I've gone in and somebody walked me to replace somebody, I'm no different than a dragon, those who watch Dragon's Den. All those dragons, you think they're there to help you? I'm sorry, no, they're there to make money for themselves. We are no different than dragons, but we are investors. We go in with our interest. So listen, we can help you out, but I have to make money by doing so. So some of the lawsuits can be avoided. The options are very simple. They can go and have a lawsuit and they can lose more money. By you taking over part of the ownership or full ownership, they save a lot more money. It's very simple. And once you start sitting down with the two parties in concern, you'll be surprised that they are able to sell property for whatever they owe. They just both want out and they're sick and tired of it. Let's move forward, sir. Auctions. Oh my God. Canadians, please tell me that you attended at least one auction in your lifetime. Here is a classic story I'd like to share with you. Those who have a piece of paper, please write down. It's called Ritchie, R-I-T-C-H-I, Ritchie's auction. Auctions are simply another format of selling a piece of property, and most of the auctioneers charge a fee of 30%. So let's say your property is worth $100,000 and the auction sells it for $100,000. The owner gets only 70 cents a dollar. Here's the real life story. In Toronto, we have called Trump Towers. And Trump Tower had one gentleman bought a condo there for $1.5 million. He tried to sell it for a year on MLS, didn't sell. Then he tried to sell it on MLS for $1 million, didn't sell. Then he called Ritchie Auction. Ritchie Auction sold this condo for $500,000 and the owner got $350,000. So he lost $1.2 million. Most of the times these auctions take place, depending exactly how they are taking place, where they are taking place. Be aware of the fact that whenever you go in, check with one word. Is this auction is absolute? That's the magical word, absolute. Absolute means there's no other hidden charges. You don't have to pay premium, 30% premium or 20% premium. Well, this is what it is, that's what it is. There's another piece of property in Toronto who got sold. A $12 million worth of a mansion got sold for $6 million. The homeowner only got 4.5. So indirectly, the homeowner gets less than 30 cents a dollar for the piece of property. They could have sold directly to an investor instead of going through auction. Either way, these are the live examples which happened in last 30 to 60 days in the hottest market in Canada. These auctions are incredible source when the market is smooth or relatively slow. Then you may find tremendous bargain. Now, don't get confused with the auctions which are done by the government. These are the private auctions. We're going to be talking about government auctions later on, though. Let's move forward, sir. Oh, tax sale properties. You guys are so lucky tonight. Amazing lucky. How many of you are from Calgary? Can I see the hands, please? And how many of you are from Edmonton? If you can raise the hands, I have a special gift for you tonight. Today is your lucky day. Can we see any hands, Eric?
Yes, we can see it, but I know people who didn't raise their hands and they're from Calgary too. That's okay. Right. They're raising their hands.
All right, that's fine. Those who are raising hands, it's all about participation, it's all about learning from each other. And as we said that tax sale properties are the properties which are all across Canada. Here's the law. The law is more or less universal, but this law applies extremely well in the province of Ontario, but it also applies very well in Edmonton and Calgary. Next month, April, there will be approximately 1,000 properties will be sold, or about 1,000 properties, which are out on the block, where the 1,000 families who have not been able to pay property taxes for the last 3 years, those properties need to be sold out. The law says very simple. This is generic law. I'm going to talk about strictly how the law works. If you own a piece of property and you do not pay the property taxes, the city has the right to sell the property for the amount of taxes owing. The law is still slightly different in some other provinces, but again, it is there. So the question is here, let's say in the province of Ontario, you have a house worth $100,000 and the property taxes are $1,000 each year. So you did not pay the taxes for 3 years, now you owe $3,000. The city has the right to sell a $100,000 property for $3,000. Now, there's a lot more involvement in it. We won't get too much into it, but I'm going to say these are the deep discounted where you can get properties at 97% discount. 97%. It's amazing that thousands of properties get sold in this country only for those who are educated, sophisticated investors. They don't need to buy it ever on MLS. So let's move forward, please. Oh, a lot more. Oh boy. Okay, we won't get too much into it because of our timing. Just going to show you a couple of the slides. Then I'm going to take some questions, and these are certain books. There are a lot of stuff we need to discuss. Unfortunately, because of timing, I'd love to continue this one other time because there are about 30 or 40 other things I'd love to show you. Can I just see this next slide, please? There is something I'd like to share quickly with you. What we have it here. Flipping for profit. This is a live training we are providing all across Canada. Those who like to flip properties very quickly. Our training is a lot more different. We teach you exactly how to find them. You don't need sometimes capital. And it is amazing. Those who are interested in attending it, just go to worldwealthbuilders.com, register for your upcoming training, and you may gonna find that some of you who have seen it on TV like to see it in real life. Wow. Our classroom is the real world. We like to show you and then show you how to do it at the same time. Let's move to the next one, sir. Oh, these are a couple of books I'd like to share quickly with you. You can buy these books on hardcover or otherwise. These are Forgivable Cleaning Grant for Businesses. There are about 3,200 different grants available. This is book is about 500 pages. Those who are interested in it, just go to my website, check it out. What's the next book, sir? This is Forgivable. The next one is Forgivable Grant for Real Estate. This book may be about 100 pages long. This is priceless book. If you ever wanted to spend money on a book, make sure the book give you at least 1,000% return back to you. If you spend $1, make sure you are able to get $1,000 back. Otherwise, don't buy a book. Buy a book which makes you money. Very simple. Let's do the next one, sir. The next book is about, oh boy, this is a book I written about 21, 22 years ago about artificial credit. It's amazing how many Canadians are paying through their nose, not realizing it that their credit can be fixed in 30 to 60 to 90 days. And this book is a must for those who are interested. If you have a good credit, good. But if you have an excellent credit, the savings are priced at, I think the book is about $100. Those who are interested in buying it, they can buy it online or they can buy it in person whenever you see me next time. Next, move forward, please. There are a couple of things that we have coaching programs available, and these coachings are amazing. Those who do not have a coach, you have no idea what you're missing. The coaches who can bring a success which you do not ever have. Those who want to close more deals, I suggest that you hire a coach like myself, or talk to Ken or Rick or Yarrick and work with a coach. If the coach is not working for you, please fire them. Very simple. It's not something, you have to be married to them because they're nice people, they talk nicely. No, it's all about producing results. It's all about making deals. End of the day, the bottom line for a coach to you is make money, no love lost. It's that simple. We have some special package tonight for you guys. If you are interested in doing it, just show me the quick slide here, Yarrick. We need to take the questions as well soon. These are some questions. We only have some of you who want to experience it. We have something special tonight for $1 only. As for 30-minute coaching you get. The idea is value must be given in exchange. There are special values. It's only open tonight for the next 24 hours. Those who want to take advantage of it, it's not on the website. It's only on this presentation tonight. It's only available exclusively to Ken or Rick members who are VIP members. Those who are not VIP members, please become one. I'm stressing you, education is much, much cheaper. And becoming a VIP member, you should not even think twice, ever. Okay, moving forward to the next slide, sir. One of the training we have called REMSA, which is coming up. It gets sold very quickly. We have a training coming up. I think we have 2 or 3 spots left. Those who are interested in knowing about it, just go to our website or call me later on. I'll be happy to help you out. Those who really want to learn how to do it, this is an opportunity for you. The training will be provided in Toronto. Moving forward, next one, sir. Let's take questions. That's my favorite part. Please ask any question. There's no such a question which is not a wrong one. So you can type it, or you can speak it, or you can speak directly to me as you like.
Okay, guys, there's your time. So please don't hesitate to raise your hand. Okay. One of the things which I have noticed during your presentation, Mr. Navtaj, was most of the people which are thinking about real estate or doing conventional real estate investing, they do look to work with the real estate agents. They do look for the, Kijiji ads, and that's it, that's all. They don't have open minds for looking somewhere else for those solutions. So I have made a note, and thanks to me, I have your presentation, so I will review it. Definitely there is a lot of features which are very, very, very creative, and one of my questions will be, for example, tax liens. Where people they should look for it to find it more information? Should they go to the city of a particular town, or how to make the research for it?
Here, unfortunately, there is something we call a little knowledge, the most dangerous thing. You need to be expert in it. That's number one. Number two, you need to understand the municipal act of, let's say in the province of Ontario, Municipal Act 2001. You need to understand that you're playing. Here you are dealing with where you are going to get a huge discount. You need to be expert in it. You cannot just go in having a little knowledge. Okay, there's tax sale. I'm going to go in there. When you go in there, you're going to see a bunch of circus. You may going to find that all the good deals have been taken away by a professional. Now, these properties are advertised by law legally in every province at least 4 weeks ahead of the time. That's more or less the law across Canada. Let me just give a bit of an example. Let's say in the province of Ontario, okay? In the province of Ontario, there are 444 municipalities. There are over 5 million properties altogether. The question is, who has the time? So what we have done is as follows. Those who have taken our education or training, they get the leads for next 60 days when the training is finished. I don't care whether you're in Manitoba, whether you are in Halifax, in Alberta, or whether you're in Vancouver, or whether you're in Ontario. Although 2/3 of the leads, or 2/3 of Canada lives in Ontario, so you may gonna get majority of the leads coming from Ontario. Here's the best thing about this stuff, Eric, and I'm going to repeat for everybody, please pay attention to this. I'm going to go through this something which is price information. Province of Ontario is called Municipal Act 2001. Properties come in the market for sale because the owner did not defaulted for 3 years. The owner have 2 weeks to come back. And other provinces you have to wait a year. Within 2 weeks time, you become the owner of the property. And 2/3 of Canada lives there. The law is very simple. You just go in and you grab the property, and they don't have to be sold at market value. They're never on MLS, and there's a lot of techniques and strategies you need to learn about it. 444 municipalities, which you have to go to 444 different websites to check it out. Some places come once in a year, sometimes come twice a year. But it's a very, very powerful tool if you know exactly how to use it.
Okay, so there is a question from Mr. Gregory. I'm going to unmute you.
Okay.
Go to bed.
In 2 hours. Gregory. Okay, 30 more seconds. Greg? Hello? He just stepped out for a second. Greg?
I think he may have gone to put his son to the bed.
Okay.
Does
Okay.
anybody else have any questions?
Let's have a look. Okay, just give me a second. Anybody has a question, guys? There's so many guys, no questions? Or you're getting into the field where nobody knows how to ask the questions about that particular topics, right? Guys, I'm going to unmute Mr. Greg again. I see it. Mr. Greg.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, and we're not going to bed in 2 more hours.
No, not quite. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just curious, do you need a business license when starting in real estate investing?
Greg, the answer is no. You don't need anything. It's a free enterprise. We live in a capitalist society, and if you want to invest in real estate, you do not require any licensing or bonding. All you need is proper education and proper coaching, and make sure you are aware of it, that how to benefit directly and indirectly from the grants available for you to invest in real estate. These grants are absolutely forgivable. Canadian government wants to encourage real estate investors to provide affordable rental units, and Government of Canada will help you as much as you like if you know what you're doing, though. You do not need any licensing.
Awesome.
Any education you're going to acquire, especially in Canada, make sure you get it from a person or a company who is strictly have been doing it for at least 20, 30 years, only 100% Canadian, and they have proven track record. Whatever they say, check it out, Google them, challenge them, everything what they teach you. So I'm going to challenge you, prove it to me, let me Google it, let me verify it. Is that true? Is it okay with the tax man? Is it okay with the CMHC? Is it okay I can check with federal government? Then you do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Greg, you are muted. Mr. Jim. Hello, Mr. Jim. Mr. Jim, do you have a mic? Okay, I'm going to read it then. I don't have a mic, okay. So, Mr. Jim is asking, what is meant by the reserve bid on the Calgary tax lien list for 2014? There are a lot of properties with the outstanding taxes less than $10,000, but the City of Calgary info refers to a reserve bid.
Okay, Jim, can you hear me? Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. In the province of Alberta, okay, not Calgary alone, in the province of whole Alberta, the laws for the tax sale is different than province of Ontario. The law requires the municipalities or the city gets very close to the market value. Now, that's well and good, and that's what the law says. But we have something which we already know. We know there are about 400 plus properties in the market for sale under taxes in the province of, so in the city of Calgary. And please don't quote me, but I think about 510 properties in the city of Edmonton. And then if you look at the Leduc, St. Albert, and other smaller cities around you, altogether there may be about 1,200 properties which are going to go for on the block in April. Now here is something I'd like to share with you. This is a very powerful strategy. You have to utilize it exactly. The masses will go to auction, and that's a wastage of time. You don't do that. What you do is you go behind and you go to the owners and you make a deal directly. It says, Mr. Owner, you're going to lose the property, and this is what I can offer for you. If you like it, let's go for it. And if it happens, great. Offer them X amount of money, which could be whatever. Now, you're not going to get every deal, but you, out of 20, if you make good 20 or 30 good efforts, you may going to end up with 1 or 2 properties, which is plenty of money for you. It's just like making extra $200,000, less $200,000-$300,000 on one weekend. And if you find these properties, and let's say you are in a bit of a pickle, and the pickle is you don't have the money, please talk to Yarrick or myself. We will come into the deal with the money. Would that be awesome? Would that be okay with you? Now you can type your answer, sir.
Just for information, Mr. Jim is one of the first members of Canada PREIG.
Congratulations, Jim. I commend you. I salute you. And people like you are going to be the most successful investors because you have made a decision. You are the action taker. It's just a matter of time. I won't be surprised if the next time I see you, you're a millionaire or more, and you could be a great inspiration for a lot of people.
Perfect.
And I expect you.
Please go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. Next question, please.
Reply from Mr. Jim. Good info, as otherwise you could be waiting for an answer, whereas this strategy you know, and if could not move on. Simple saying, thank you very much. Okay, so I have a Mr. Terrence. Just give me a second. Hello, Mr. Terrence. Okay, I just see that Mr. Terrence said yes, which is appealing. Okay, have a look. So, Mr. Navtaj, are we going to, this coming Thursday in 2 days? Are we going to talk about the same topic, or we're going?
We'll be talking about getting the creative sources of down payment. majority of the people do not realize it, there are several different creative techniques, perfectly, morally, ethically legal. I'll show you where people have money and they don't see it. And we're going to be talking about maybe good, only 7 or 8 good techniques, the sources of your down payment. Amazing. People are going to say, oh my God, I have the down payment. I can buy a next property.
Are you going to talk about that RSP trick too?
We will not only talk the tricks only, we'll show them different strategies where the taxman, believe it or not, the taxman also can pay a down payment, and a lot of other techniques in it. These are new strategies. One sad thing today happened. Jim Flaherty, our finance minister, have resigned, and he's the only man who was able to stand up against Stephen Harper. I have the utmost respect for both Jim Flaherty as well as Stephen Harper. Now there will be a new finance minister as of next Wednesday. For the time being, Jim Flaherty has resigned, and since he is in my opinion, he's the one who has pulled us through a very difficult time, and he's the one who has brought a lot of prosperity in this to all the investors, especially in Canada. He's from Whitby, Ontario. He's going back to private practice, but again, amazing. I was very, very impressed with the finance minister. There are 2 people who make all the decisions which affect Canadian real estate. One is Governor of Bank of Canada, and second is our finance minister.
Okay, so we are having another last question from Mr. Greg. I'm going to unmute. It's related to the different laws. Hello, Greg. You're unmuted.
Cool, thank you. I'm just curious about the laws here in Canada and in the States. What are the different, or are there different laws here? And how do they differ?
In what respect, Jim? Greg?
I don't know. Like the down payment kind of thing, or
okay. In Canada, okay. First of all, in each province, the law. Okay, our laws are totally different than Americans. Nothing in common at all. Period.
Okay.
Our banking system is totally different. What might be legal in U.S., it could be totally committing a fraud in Canada.
Oh wow.
Okay, that's number one. Now, in Canada, the laws are very simple. I'm going to just give you one simple example. What does not sound right is not right. What doesn't sound more morally or ethically correct is correct. What I'm just saying that to you is this. Next Thursday, when you come in, and the laws of the land in Canada are very simple. Let's say, for example, you want to buy a house, and you want to buy a fixer-upper. The house is worth $100,000, and you need $25,000 to put a down payment, $25,000 worth of renovation. You only have $10,000. Now, can you buy the fixer-upper? The answer is yes. And we have, every bank in Canada are going to show you the privilege, what the law says, what you can do it by the book, without breaking the law. Unfortunately, majority of the bankers, mortgage brokers, lawyers do not even know about these different products we have available for Canadian taxpayers. That's very, very unfortunate.
Yes,
okay. The next Thursday, you're in for a surprise. Do you already own a piece of property?
Do I own one? No.
Okay. Are you the first-time buyer?
Yes.
Perfect. God bless you, my friend. The chances are I might be able to get your house. The government of Canada provides you forgivable down payment.
Nice. Right on.
Where do you live in the city? Where do you live?
In northeast Calgary.
Okay. The city of Calgary, here's something I'm going to give it to you. Are you married?
Yes.
You have any kids?
Yes, 3.
God bless you all, my friend. First of all, I want you to do me a favor tonight. I'll go to Habitat of Canada, and they're building 32 houses. in Calgary, Habitat of Canada. And you might be qualified for one. And there is another program called PEAK, P-E-A-K, PEAK. And they're providing the down payment for first-time buyer forgivable. Up to 13, don't quote me on that one, I think it's $15,000 to $30,000.
Nice.
Okay? I'm going to make sure tonight is the game changer for you, where it can make a big difference in your life altogether.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, my friend, and God bless you and your family.
Thanks.
So Greg, you are muted. So everybody else, please don't hesitate and book your appointment for this coming Thursday, 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, and 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And we will be talking with Mr. Navtaj about creative investing. Thank you very much, Mr. Navtaj. As always, pleasure having you on the board. Your knowledge, your experience is very, very, very powerful. And I have never met any Canadian investor knowing so much as you know with the creative ways of real estate investing. Thank you.
All right, thank you once again, everybody, and hope you enjoyed it. And please feel free to give your feedback to Jarek. And if you're not a member of Canada PREIG, please become one. Next meeting, make sure you ask a lot of your friends. I think we have some extra few more lines. We'll be able to accommodate a few more people next meeting as well. In the meantime, take care. God bless, and God bless Canada, my friends. And good night.